do you pause the business? Like what did you do with SkillTorch then?
They do warn you about that. They say, like, when you go, if you don't have someone running it, you're pretty much going to have to shut it down. I had to cancel 2 RPOs. I couldn't tell them why. You sign an NDA where you're kind of keeping it all hush hush and everything. I was away for about 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
But even when you do come back to reality and to work, like, you physically just cannot get back to a normal job that easy. Like, I think mentally you've been away for so long without your phone or laptop.
You have clicked on this episode of the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast, probably because of the hook. We're going to get all the inside story into what it really means to become a contestant on the globally acclaimed BBC show, The Apprentice. This is Melica Moshiri, and she is the founder of SkillTorch. It's an exec search firm for the AI and robotics industry, predominantly in America, but across the globe. She's also a prolific TEDx speaker, and she runs her own podcast too, Future Pulse. So we talk around her recruitment journey, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people how she started her recruitment career, how she cut her teeth, why she set up her business. And then she does talk around how she had to start twice. And I think that's something that a lot of us can learn from. So without further ado, let's get to know Melica. This is Lysha Holmes, and I'm your host on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast, and I am so excited to introduce to our community today somebody who I've had the pleasure to be introduced via somebody that I've known for over 20 years in the recruitment industry, and I'm sure you might recognise her face actually because she was on a very famous TV show last year. This is Melica Moshiri, who is the founder of SkillTorch, which is an exec search business for the AI industry. She's a TEDx speaker. She was on The Apprentice, on the BBC show The Apprentice in 2025, and is also a fellow podcast host of Future Pulse. Welcome to you today, Melica. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
You are very welcome. I'm very well, thank you very much indeed. You're down in, did you say it was Worthing?
Worthing, near Brighton, about 20 minutes away.
Brighton is, if you're listening to this and you live in the UK and you've never been to Brighton, shame on you. It's beautiful. Best fish and
It
chips.
is.
Best fish and chips I've ever had. Although the seagulls are absolutely vile down there.
Oh, they are. Tell me about it. But
So
it's so beautiful in the summer, especially.
it really is. On a day like this, we're recording this on a beautiful sunny spring day. I hope you're going to make time to go down to the beach at some
I
point.
am. After this, I'm going straight outside anyway. I'm going to get out this David Lloyd gym.
Good for you. Well, I think that's what we should all be doing more of. So, well, thank you for agreeing to be on the show. So, can you give us an insight into your recruitment career journey so we are familiar with how you've ended up setting up your own business?
Absolutely. So I graduated with a law degree when I was 21 years old. After that, I decided I didn't want to do a career in law. I kind of wanted to progress quickly, earn money quickly. So I ended up at a recruitment assessment day to try and get a job in B2B sales. That's when I got introduced to recruitment. At the age of 21, I had no idea what recruitment is, what it did for me, but all I knew is that I could progress them into management within 3 years, earn money really quickly, and kind of like have a good lifestyle. So it was from there at Pareto Law, which is part of the Randstad company. I worked in recruitment there for a year. It really set me up for success in terms of like teaching me the foundations of cold calling. Like, there were days where I had to make 150 cold calls to chief executives. It was very, very traditional recruitment.
That's brutal.
Oh, it was. Well, it was so brutal. So that's why after a year I left and then got headhunted to join Experian to work in a field account management role. So at the age of 21, again, I had a BMW company car. I was driving up and down the UK, doing field sales, selling to NHS trusts. I did that for about 6 months. I didn't pass my probation. Basically, I was set targets at like 50K per month, which was pretty excessive. And I was the youngest account manager in that team. Like, most people in that team were like in their late 30s to 40s. So I then moved back to Brighton from London and joined a executive search firm which specialised in tech. And I was there for 3 years. I was their top performer. I think I was promoted twice in that company. But when I was there, like, I always wanted to move to the US. And there wasn't really an opportunity within that company to move out there. So I ended up speaking to a rectorate for a job opportunity to help open up a US office for a recruitment company based in the UK. So I went out to Los Angeles and I was there for 4.5 years. But during my time in recruitment, even my old bosses used to always say, you should start your own thing. You're very self-sufficient. Like I was always keeping the lights on for companies. I was billing big numbers. I was the number one top sales or, recruitment consultant at companies. In the first 2 months when I was at that executive search firm in the ad tech firm, one of my first clients was Amazon,
Wow.
which was a big shock for everyone. So I've always kind of had that drive, worked really hard. But then I would say 3 years ago, I kind of got a little bit homesick after COVID and wanted to be closer to my family. So that's when I decided to move back to the UK. And from then, that's when I started my own recruitment business. And here I am.
I love that. And I love the whole story flow there because
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a common story, but it's often the case that people do their degree or, previous life, and they kind of accidentally meet a recruiter or go through a recruiter
Yeah,
process.
exactly.
I could do this. And you know what? You've cut your teeth in a very well respected business. Pareto law, they got bought by Randstad, I think, sort of a decade
Yes.
ago. And I think there'll be a lot of people listening that probably think that's absolutely absurd that you were, destined to do 150 calls a day. Like, how could you even dial out that many people? I came from that era too, and it just teaches you that tenacity, that resilience. What's
Okay.
the worst that can happen? How many people told you to fuck off in a year? I don't know. Did anyone? Did anyone?
I mean, loads. I mean, even today, I still get that. So
Ever? Oh my God. You see, in all my life, 27 years, I've only ever once been told to F off.
really,
The
no, I've
existing
had it a
client,
lot.
actually. He said, stop ringing me. And I was like, okay, I'll stop ringing you if you're going to tell me to fuck off then. I did cry, actually. I was pregnant at the time, but that's the
Oh
difference.
gosh.
So you chose recruitment and recruitment chose you. And I love the fact that you talk about meritocracy because, we often forget that there's not many careers out there that genuinely gives you the opportunity around career progression as well as
Yes.
financial rewards. So when you said that you've had it observed of you that they knew you'd always set up, what was it about you? Like, have you got entrepreneurial blood? Like, did you do things when you were a teenager? Like, how did you know you were going to set up?
Again, I think just people around me just encouraged me to do it because end of the day, like I wasn't spoon-fed things. Like I was always hunting for new business. I was always known as the person that gets new business
Right.
in recruitment. In terms of like my background, no, I wouldn't say like I've got a big family of entrepreneurs, to be honest with you, but I would say from a young age, I've always worked, weekend jobs, part-time jobs, like even from the age of 14, my first job was like paper round. So I've always worked and I've always been independent. I've never really like relied on my parents to give me money. I've always had to kind of like earn my own money. So I
Yeah.
kind of think that's where it's all come from.
You're a grafter, that's for sure, Malika. So what does SkillTorch actually do? What's your service offering?
Yeah, so we partner with early stage companies within the AI infrastructure, automation, and also robotics space across US and Europe. I would say the majority of our work is in the US. And in terms of like my approach, it's more about creating like an embedded partnership. So when I say embedded, most people think that is like RPO, where you offer like a subscription based thing, where you charge the client monthly. I do that, but actually my preference is when I do work with a new company, I ask them to add me on their Slack channel. I ask for a company email address. And I check in with them every single week and I text them all the time. Then that way I'm almost like part of their business. And I just find that so effective in really understanding the culture of their business and also giving them feedback if things are going wrong during the interview process, but ultimately making sure that I make the placement and no other agency makes that placement for me.
It's there's multi benefits to it. I think really understanding what EVP means is, like you say, the warts and all. It's giving that feedback
Exactly.
and it's having that audience. That's serious, partnership, isn't it? Where your
Yeah.
level of giving that client giving you that level of trust. How do you prove yourself to be enabled to be not just a white label, but actually in their Slack channel with their business? Like
I
how?
mean, I'm almost like telling them what to do. I'm literally saying to them, look, if you want to ensure, I'm not going to just be sending you CVs and just hoping for the best. I just don't think that's an effective use of our time. And I just say to them, look, the specialist roles that because some of the roles that I'm working on, they're so specialist. They're things like computer vision engineers, embedded engineers, it's very specific sales positions, for example. And it's not easy to find those types of people. It can kind of take time. Like some of my searches can go on for like 6 weeks or 2 months. Some of them could be very quick. And I just think like some of those people, some of those companies that are hiring, they all also don't really know what's in the market. So I have to kind of share with them the data.
Yeah, I think it's interesting actually when we've looked at data and what the sort of future trends look like. Your
Yeah.
market is going to be one that's going to continue to scale and grow, and I believe there's going to be something like 170 million new opportunities through AI and automation. But where are all the people? Where are all the skills? Everyone's going to have to reskill, aren't they? So
Yeah.
your clients that are hiring for these very niche roles, how many people can actually do those roles now, or is it going to be a case of retraining? What's your talent pooling like then? Are you encouraging people to retrain and how? What would your advice be, I guess, to people that they're thinking about becoming more AI proficient?
I think it's a really difficult question, if I'm honest with you. Like, I think I think be very selective with who you work with. I think it's so important to work for an early stage startup, because when you're working for an early stage startup, like you are wearing multiple hats and you're doing so many different things at once. And I'd say, especially now, your job is not linear. Like you are going to be doing multiple different things. You're going to be doing some engineering, some data science, even maybe some sales, some customer services. Like I'd say the last two placements that I've made in engineering, both of those candidates have had to have some in-person field customer service experience, or at least that personality. And I think that's so important to have right now. So I think anyone that's thinking of pivoting or developing their skills, making sure that they are joining a company where they can do other jobs within that as well.
I love that. And I think it's a really great way. I'm almost thinking that it's like the old school apprenticeship, which is what apprenticeships were. You literally got and
Oh, really?
sat in all the different, you would go and sit in all the different departments and
Yeah.
you would work out which part of the job you were good at. But I think I'm a huge believer in partnering, on very embryonic businesses, early stage startup companies, because I think that it takes a certain type of person to, I guess, balance the risk in inverted commas versus the reward, which is, if that is a successful enterprise, then, the opportunity for your career will be insurmountable compared to if you were joining a mature business. So good for you. So when did you actually launch your business? When did SkillTorch start?
Uh, so I moved back to the UK in July 2022. I then started it maybe like 2 or 3 months after that. So September,
At what
October.
point did you decide to apply for a TV show? And why did you
So, yeah, good question. So, I applied twice. So, the first time I applied was January of, or was it December? It was either December of 2022 or January of 2023. But I did get invited to the interviews around like February of 2023. And during the apprentice interviews, there's like three whole stages. I got through to the first two stages in the first time round. And I wasn't successful after the second stage, but I kind of had the gut feeling like I was really close. So then the year after I applied again, January 2024, and that's when I got selected. And the reason why I applied, so I was at my cousin's house in London, BBC was on, the advert came up, and my cousin was like, why don't you just apply for it? Why not? So I just literally applied on a whim, didn't think anything of it. I just thought it's one of those things where you just apply for, I don't know, a competition or anything like that. And that's when I got invited. So that's kind of where it all came from,
did
really.
you
Just
ever
didn't
get the
really think too much of it.
did you get the feedback from the first time round as to why you didn't make it through to the show? You didn't? No.
No, I didn't. But when I went back second time around, pretty much everyone recognized me and remembered me.
I wonder how many people have done that in the past then.
A
So,
lot of us, a lot of us on our season actually they didn't apply first time around. A lot of them were second timers. So
hmm.
it is quite common.
I was going to say one, but that says a lot about people's competitive skills, doesn't it? Right? You're not even giving me the chance to get going. And
Yeah.
what's the reality of you've launched a business? How do you pause the business? Like, what did you do with SkillTorch then?
You pretty much shut it down. And they do warn you about that. They say, like, when you go, if you don't have someone running it, you're pretty much going to have to shut it down. So it definitely took a hit. Yeah. So I had like I started the year really good and I had to cancel two RPOs. I couldn't tell them why, because you sign an NDA where you're kind of keeping it all hush hush and everything. So I had to cancel those. I was away for about 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but even when you do come back to reality and to work, like you physically just cannot like get back to your normal job that easy. Like I think mentally you've been away for so long without your phone or laptop
But
that you
so you
kind
don't
of
have
like
any communication with the outside world at all.
only 10 minutes every week, and that's chaperoned.
That must be so hard for those who've got young families, for example.
100%. So in our season, Dean was the one that won the competition. He had 2 kids. That was really, really hard for him.
God, I didn't. I actually really genuinely thought there must be some contact with the outside world.
10 minutes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what are I really want to know about Baroness Brady more than anyone else, really, because she spoke at the Recruitment Expo not last year, the year before, so it was probably the year
Yeah,
that
she did. Yeah, yeah.
she was absolutely fantastic. Like I really liked her persona. But what did you get to speak to her and engage with her? Like, did you get any input and coaching from either her or no?
She doesn't speak a lot, if I'm honest, like on task. Like she keeps it very strictly professional. She's very poker face.
Very.
Obviously, she gives you some feedback at the boardroom, but you cannot really just like sit there and have a laugh with her. Like it's all about work and getting on with everything. Tim's the opposite. Tim, you can have a joke and you can have a chat with him, but yeah,
Maybe that's
Baroness
because
really
he's done
can't.
it. He's walked in your shoes. He knows how it feels.
Exactly.
So I kind of I think I assume that about him. I'm a bit disappointed about that actually. I would think that, you're doing, what is it, 12-hour days for these tasks. You'd think there'd be a little bit of,
Yeah.
just a little bit of banter going for a drink or just, maybe do
Oh
this.
no, none of that. No, it's all serious.
So it really, so it really is as formal as it says. And how do you
It's
feel about
formal, but obviously, like when you're filming, yeah, of course you have banter with each other and stuff. Like, but that's what that I think that's when you see some of the episodes, you see some of the silly things that come up because you are almost having a laugh like behind the scenes as well.
was going to say, I mean, if you are mimicking running a business, each task, each project, you would be having a laugh. You don't want life to be totally miserable. So you didn't get the investment. And how do you feel about that now?
I kind of knew that wasn't. I knew I wasn't going to win. To be honest with you, like I said, I tried it for experience. It would have been nice. I think it would have definitely have changed my life. It would have definitely given me the boost and the jump up. But I think Lord Sugar's really invested in like 5 recruitment businesses. Some of them have done well, some of them haven't. And I just think like I went into that show during a time, in my opinion, where recruitment was on a downturn. And actually, when I did interview for the show, one of Lord Sugar's advisors did actually say to me, he said, "How are you actually navigating the current recruitment landscape right now?" So they knew that recruitment was on a downturn during that time. So I kind of had the feeling like Lord Sugar wasn't going to invest in something like that.
Mm.
But it was a good experience. It would have been nice to get into the final five for sure. I think that's when you get most of your exposure. But yeah, happy where I ended up.
The interviews, and there's certain people who interview well, and there are others that I just want to slap them and think that is not how people interview in 2026. We know who we're
I
talking.
know it's brutal. It's brutal.
Claude's funny. He makes me laugh the most. He's just
Yes.
hilarious. It's the show that I sit and wait for, to be honest with you. But I have always been a fan all 20 seasons because we've just had the 20th season, haven't we?
Yes.
And I applaud anybody that I didn't actually realize it was that level of commitment. And I mentioned, I know Ricky Martin quite well because his business was in Manchester for a while, and he's been on my live podcast before, and he's been on the show as well. And but I didn't realize you really are removed from your day to day. That must
Oh
just.
yeah.
So you did 6 weeks. You must have been absolutely like almost elated and drained at the same time, and then you pick your business back up, start day one again.
I mean, did I go straight to work again? No, I went to Turkey actually, maybe like 2 weeks after I came back. But actually, so obviously I was there for 6 weeks, but then I then went back for the final episode. So even after a week, I think it was after 2 weeks, I went back in for like 3 days. So yeah, I mean, I kind of, and I'll be honest with you, like even going back into the work, I wouldn't say my numbers were brilliant in that year because I think mentally and physically, I just think like I didn't have the flow. Like I'd already had been away from my desk. I literally walked in with like no clients, didn't really know where to start, didn't really know which market to focus on. I kind of like almost, I was even considering like changing careers or doing something different at that time. Like I was just in the headspace where I felt like I didn't know what to expect for what was to come because I had to wait like 9 months until the show launched. And I wasn't sure if that was going to change anything or if it was going to stay the same. Like I had no idea what to expect.
So you really film a long time in advance, don't you?
Oh
That's
yeah,
crazy.
definitely.
So much can God, I think back to even 9 months ago now, it's a different world.
Yeah.
Where will we be in another 9 months? Who knows, Malika? Do you regret it then or not?
I don't regret it, but I would say if I was to be invited to go on it now, I probably would decline it. Only because it does take up so much of your time away. And I do think it it sounds great to not have your phone around you for like 6 weeks. It does sound great, but actually, like during that time, I was purchasing my property, so I had obviously just got back to the UK, so I only had like 1 year's tax returns, so I had that going on in the background. I then lied to my friends and family about like where I was for a long time. So yeah, I would say. So I think like when the likes of like Ricky went on it, I think the exposure was so much better back then for sure. I would say as the years have gone by, I would say generally TV has had a decline. And I'd say, you know, for a show like The Apprentice, unless you think you're going to win or you're going to be in the final, in my opinion, I just don't think it's worth going on it.
If you've got a valid business idea, go on Dragon's Den. That's what I would say.
100%. I
Let's
think
make
Dragon's Den is a really good show, definitely.
love Dragon's Den, and I love having the get when Emma Greed goes on. I'm like girl fanning her because I'm obsessed with her and her brand and what she's achieved. So I think that's really sage advice because the reality is, I think there's people that it's almost, I don't want to say that this is what you were, but there's an element of like glory seeking from it and thinking it's going to create this brand. But the
It
fact is,
won't.
everything's noisy, Malika. Everywhere you go, LinkedIn's crowded. So I think there's easier ways, in inverted commas, to create a better brand for yourself than that level of commitment. And like you say, going all that way and, almost losing your business that you've built to risk it for the investment. So thank you for that insight. What's next for you then? You've got your podcast. Tell us about Future Pulse. Who comes on it?
Yes. So I that's basically a podcast where I invite executives within the AI industry to basically I pretty much ask them to talk about a topic of their choice, something that they're passionate about where the industry is going. So I try and release those episodes every single week. I start off with posting the infographic on LinkedIn. Then a couple of days later, I post a short snippet, and then I literally put on there. The full episode is on Spotify and YouTube. And so I've been doing that for since I've actually started the business. And first of all, it does help me develop my knowledge into AI. I think it's great for content creation. But third of all, I'm not going to lie to you, like I've definitely won clients from the back of it. And of course, there is a thing behind my mind to say, actually, this could be a good business development tool as well. So hence why I do it. And I just think it's just a good way to build relationships. Because look, as you said, LinkedIn is noisy, emails are noisy. Like everyone is sending emails, everyone's ignoring them. It's hard to stand out. Even if you say you personalize it, I still think with personalization, it's hard to stand out because people think it's fake. But actually, I think with a podcast, when you're giving someone something that benefits them and you're not charging them, they're bound to listen to you and have at least a 15, half an hour conversation with you.
The fourth benefit, if you've listed three, the fourth benefit is you have the insights, the agnostic insights from across the industry that no one else has. You're
Exactly.
speaking to a variety of people that aren't just necessarily hiring clients, but it's just a different variety. I think that's such a huge advantage of being a podcast host that, I can go and sit in the expo. And the recruitment expo is great, but I can go and spend 2 days of my time and go to all the different stages, network, go and listen to all the experts, whatever. Or I can spend one day doing this where I'm, hosting six, seven, eight podcasts, like including yourself, and I know where I'm getting the most value because it's
Exactly. I couldn't do six in a day though. That's too much. I do one a week and that is enough for me.
I'm a machine.
One or two.
I've been doing it this way since 2021 because as I said to you off camera, I launched mine in COVID by mistake, and then it kind of like, oh, got legs here. And I just find if I'm not organized enough to do it once a month and then just have it, for future episodes, I just end up not doing it or something else. So another meeting will take precedence, and this is so important to me. This is one of the most joyful things that I do.
Oh, that's nice. I
I
like that.
love it, and I haven't. I'm one of the very few in the recruitment space that hasn't, as in that's interviewing recruitment leaders, that isn't going into a studio and making it look all shiny. Because I interview people all around the world.
Yeah, I do that as well.
No, I've had Leeds this morning. Brighton. Well, you're not Brighton, are you? But you're nearly Brighton. I've got Manchester next, and then I'm finishing, I think, in Houston, which I wouldn't be able to do if I had a studio, and no one's going to travel all the way to Ramsbottom, are they? Well, thank you
Yeah, people are
so much. I knew you are one of the few people that really was happy to wing it. And I was like, we're just winging it, Malika. Is that okay? And you were like,
like,
do it, girl. Let's
well,
just
it's
do it.
conversational. It's all conversational. That's the whole point of a podcast, isn't it?
I love your journey, and I think those people listening, because I didn't even explain this to you off camera, if you're listening, you probably are either a founder or you're quite new to recruitment. That tends to be the people that give us the feedback. And I think both of those groups of people will have taken something from today. But if you are listening and you are an avid recruiter and you've been doing it for a long time and you just like to listen and to hear people's journeys, I hope you feel inspired. And the fact is, you can combine social selling through your channels of podcasts, but you got to pick up the phone, guys. Pick up the phone, speak to
Yeah.
people. Make
Even just sends a text message, just like instant communication, like is so key.
WhatsApp. I mean,
Yeah.
if I don't know about you, but if someone's like, "Oh, I'm not on WhatsApp," and I'm iMessage, I'm like, "iMessage, get in the bin." No
That's
thanks.
normally in the US. US, I don't use WhatsApp very much.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, well, I used to live there and WhatsApp wasn't a big thing.
oh my God, that's crazy. No, at WhatsApp, I'm a WhatsApp business user. So I can do an out of office, which is very useful on days like this. So anyone that's messaging me today or calling me on WhatsApp will get a nice polite, I'm recording all day. I will respond tomorrow unless it's an offer. And I just think WhatsApp's brilliant. It's so useful. It's such a brilliant tool. But
It
all
is.
my clients, I ask them, are they voice noters? I even video note them if they're really lucky. But it's such a personal way to get to know your client. And I would encourage anyone. I've started using those videos, the 60-second ones where you
Yeah.
second that everybody responds to those. They don't necessarily respond back with a video, but you get an instant response because you're curious. So I'm going to challenge anyone listening. If you're
So good. I'm going to try that actually.
do it because feedback. I've got some feedback. The candidate's already called me. I've tried ringing you, not answering. Call me. They'll call you. And it's fun. It just allows you to show a really personal side to what you're doing. I love video notes. I often do it with a new candidate just to test them out. Are you brave enough to send me one back? That's the thing. And it's those blue ticks, Malika. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Lysha. Really appreciate it.
We have to say thank you to who introduced you.
Yes.
Big shout out. He's coming on the podcast later on in the season, possibly into season 7. John Gorhan, who is a wonderful human being. So
He's
just
lovely.
you know John through the Hisham's Hector, don't you?
Yes, exactly. And he provides coaching to a few of us, including myself as well.
Does, and he's wonderful. He's a huge advocate and a very long-standing friend of mine, and he was very brave and vulnerable to share the story of Finley James on the Hisham's podcast, probably now nearly 2 years ago. I think he shared.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people know him. Actually, it was from that podcast.
I've known John since he set the Finley James up with Mark Nealon back 20 odd years ago. So go
Oh
on.
wow.
And Sarah as well. So as we record this, they are swanning around Japan, aren't they, in South Korea on their cruise? Well deserved, I say. So we will be tagging him in the comments as he's a firm friend of Key Recruitment as well. So thank you so much, Malika.
Thank you.
Thank you.